Welcome to the Uncontested podcast, talking Oklahoma City Thunder basketball and the wider NBA.
Sam Presti said, lower the hatch, load up the cannon, and get the tank out rolling.
Catch new episodes after each Thunder game and every Sunday night.
This is a house of learning doctors.
Follow the Uncontested on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to catch new content as it drops.
I mean, a cat and a dog connected together?
This is Lou Dort. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up? Welcome to the Uncontested podcast. Coming to you live from YouTube, Twitter, Facebook on October 17th, Sunday, 3 days before the start of the NBA regular season. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. We've got a full squad here tonight. Joining me from down in Dallas, Texas, we got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
From somewhere down the road from Justin, we also have Nick Crane with us tonight.
Diggs Nation.
Taylor Peterson is here.
I'm here. Just had to turn my mic on or off and back on again, just like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Did they win?
They did. The third and fourth quarter was much better. The fourth being the best of all four quarters. And, I think we're going to win the Super Bowl again. It's fine.
All right.
Not really.
We also have the man making the sounds happen, JD Silva. As much as I hate Rudy Gobert.
Hello.
I was waiting
there was
for
no
what
more
was coming
context
next.
to it. I just hate Rudy Gobert.
No, we just have that drop now.
I just like how clean that audio is to where
It's so clean.
the non-live stream listeners just think Jacob had a stroke or something.
Well, probably wouldn't be the first time. We are a proud partner of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and the official podcast of SI Thunder. Before we fire up the show today, we have an awesome show set up for you guys, previewing the Oklahoma City Thunder's NBA season. I want to let you guys know that this coming Friday, October 22nd, we are hosting the first official Thunder watch party via the Uncontested. We're going to be hanging out at Prairie Brew Pub in downtown OKC, Automobile Alley. So make sure you come out and hang out Friday night as the Thunder take on the Houston Rockets. Your first beer on us. So come out, get a free beer from Prairie. We have, if you're watching the live stream right now, we have some dope new stickers.
Oh,
that we will have.
Those are awesome.
You come out, you get a free sticker, free beer.
Yeah,
we're going to be doing some giveaways at halftime, so you're going to get a raffle ticket for some giveaways. And next door to Prairie, Magasin is going to be doing some food specials. They're Vietnamese food, so there's going to be all their normal Vietnamese menu. Plus, they're going to have some wings and fries special for us that night. And then Taylor and I will be podcasting live from Prairie after the game.
Boom.
So it's going to be a blast. Come hang out with us. Get a free beer, a free Uncontested sticker. Your chance to get some free Thunder swag from our giveaways. Get some good food. Buy yourself a few more beers. And come hang out and have a good time. We are so excited. We cannot wait to see all you guys out there. We'd love to get all of our local listeners to come hang out. To our overseas listeners, I don't know how we do a hangout with you guys.
You got to fly. Show
Virtual.
your commitment.
Get that flight. Come out here, hang out. But we're super excited. So please come hang out Friday, October 22nd, as the Thunder take on the Houston Rockets. Josh Giddey versus Jalen Green.
Let's go.
That's what I was going to say. It's kind of fun. Like the rivalry is still there, even when both of these franchises are in different eras.
If there's one game all week that's not going to be a blowout, it might be this one.
That is very true.
Very true.
Very true. So make sure to come hang out, have a good time. We can't wait to see you guys. Gentlemen, with that being said, we've previewed every team going into this NBA season except for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
With
We
the
have
exception
watched-
of our bets podcast last weekend, which
Yes.
kind of previewed the team.
We have watched this team play 4 preseason games. Now it's time to dive in to break down what the next 82 will look like. Spoiler alert, don't think we're getting more than 82 this year, boys. And to do that, we are going to answer the 5 most pressing questions for the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. So we're going to roundtable this. I'm going to start with one of you. I'm going to ask you a question. You answer it. And then the rest of us will kind of chime in and have like dissenting views and we'll argue it and eventually come to an answer for each of these 5 questions. Justin, you're first up tonight.
Oh boy.
And the first pressing question for this Oklahoma City Thunder season. Will Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be an all-star?
Well, the short answer is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an all-star. He doesn't need your formal validation to be as such. He doesn't need your labels. He's an all-star in my heart, and that's all that matters. The longer answer, I think Shai absolutely can be an all-star, has the ability and will have the stats to be in the conversation, will be discussed, will be debated, will be lobbied for and voted upon many, many, many times by Oklahoma City Thunder fans. Shai will not be an all-star this year, if I had to predict, just by nature of who he has to beat out. It's not a knock on Shai. It's a testament to the Western Conference backcourts. And I think that's it more than anything, is just to become an all-star. I think it's too many people that he has to jump in order for that to happen. Doesn't take anything away from Shai. He's absolutely primed for an all-star caliber year. I just don't know if this is the year that he gets it.
I think
Who's
that's
the next
pretty
guy
fair.
who's the next guy that like you would see dropping out over the next 2 years or so that you think Shai could take their spot?
Surpass.
Yeah.
That's a good
I mean,
question.
like, the first one that comes to my mind, just because it's recent and relevant, it'll be Zion. If he's not playing until December, like that's another spot. Granted, not the same position, but still. Man,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
tough.
you see some of the older guards like a Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's not
Dame's
going
not
to
gonna
be
be
around for
released.
that
When
many
Dame is
more
traded
years.
to the Sixers,
Yes,
Mike
when-
Conley ain't making the All-Star team.
Mike Conley's
That's-
probably not
that's a
making the
good
All-Star
one.
team, but Devin
good
Booker
one.
probably is, without a commissioner vote or whatever it was last year.
but to Nick's point, like, oh, okay, that's fair. I guess technically he wasn't already voted in. Good point.
Right.
So the
Kawhi?
West All-Star guards last season, Luka, Harden, CP3, Russ, Dame, Mitchell, and Booker.
Can I throw a wrinkle in this? I think Shai could make it as a forward, given his position this season.
Yeah,
I do-
I was
do
going to
too.
mention that. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets listed as guard/forward, because that opens up a lot more positions for him.
Sure.
But
So-
Harden, not in the West anymore. So Harden's out.
That's true. That's one.
Here's the thing with the All-Star game that I have a problem with. It's going to be fan vote counts for a big chunk of getting in.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I mean, shit, last year Alex Caruso almost made it.
Fan vote only affects the starters, though, right?
Is
And
that
then
correct?
the rest is chosen by coaches. And
Okay.
True.
Players.
And Shai,
coaches and players.
Shai probably
and,
wouldn't. Yeah,
and
right.
media,
Because
right?
of
Yeah.
because of his
The
market.
fan
he probably
vote
wouldn't
for
get
the
fan vote.
NBA All-Star game is like evidence A why we should raise the voting age.
And
in
also what is
America.
wrong with the NBA today. But one thing with this, so when we talked about this exercise, Jacob and I were on the phone earlier today, and I was asking him about it. And I thought he was like asking all of us to come up with our own 5. But this one kind of feeds into one of the questions I had. Does Shai take another leap, even with more attention than ever before from opposing defenses? So I think if the answer to my question is yes, then why wouldn't he be an all-star?
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that, because I don't think he probably makes it either. That's not to say I don't think he's going to take another leap. I just think it's going to be very hard. I mean, he's going to have to put up like Russell Westbrook 2016 numbers, right? For MVP numbers, in order for him to be able to pull that off and take a spot from somebody else.
Here's the thing with those All-Stars, though, is Harden's in the East now.
Yep.
Has another guard of that caliber taken his place in the West? No.
Did Ja make it last year?
I
Because
don't
that's
think so.
one that I just see from the narrative standpoint,
Yeah.
because he was there
Am
in the
I
play-in.
Am I crazy?
Steph and Clay are both. I mean, probably not Clay,
Yeah.
but Steph.
Yeah, probably not Clay. Steph,
is-
though.
Yeah.
Am I crazy to think that Russ might not make it this year because
No,
of the
not at
product
all.
of the team he's going to play on and the diminished role he will have? Speaking of, did you see their coach today said he wants to see Russ be as aggressive off ball as he is on ball?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, Vogel, so do I for the
Haven't
past
we all?
15 years.
I think Russ will absolutely be an all-star.
Interesting.
Probably not starting, but it's one of those
Just the
guys you get
Lakers
to
effect.
because of who's voting.
Yep.
Coaches,
It's the Lakers,
players,
that's fair.
media.
Yep.
He's
That is fair.
absolutely going to be an all-star.
Yeah.
If he
you
gets
have Jaw in
the,
the West.
Yeah.
You have De'Aaron Fox in the West. Does Shea deserve a spot over those two guys? If there was one more
Fox?
spot for those three guys,
I say Fox, assuming that the Thunder are probably going to be on pace in terms of wins at that point of the season. It would kind of be my guess before they kind of start to drop off. I could be way off there. But Jaw, like, again, I just see him getting the nod. He's already kind of planted the seed of the narrative, right? In terms of the play-in tournament against Steph. And then I say tournament, the play-in games against Steph, and the Warriors, or who do they play?
yeah, they put the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. People are very high on Steph. Or
On
Jaw.
Jaw.
By naked eye glance, I think there's only 2 players that made the All-Star game last year that weren't on a playoff team.
It's a good
Sounds
stat.
right.
That's what it comes
Yeah.
down to. Even if
Good
you have
stat.
28, 8, and 8,
Yep.
I don't know.
Typically, an all-star team or a playoff team gets an all-star,
Yep.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's typically rule of thumb. And if they're like the number 1 seed, it's typically they have to get 2 all-stars.
Yep.
It's kind of this narrative that exists. So, gentlemen, we got to answer the question. Is Shea going to be an all-star this season?
No.
I sadly say no as well.
I
As
agree.
much as I want to disagree.
Am
Not
I
until the Thunder
crazy?
have a-
Sorry, go ahead, Silva.
Yeah, I was gonna not until the Thunder have a larger presence, like a larger competitive presence in the West. That they're not.
Yeah.
He's not gonna surpass any of those guards we talked about.
I think that's fair. And this is a legitimate question that I want to ask you guys. Like, is it my bias? I believe that Shea is a better player than Ja Morant. Am I wrong? Am I off on that? Because I'm biased?
I struggle with
think
that
so.
too.
You think I am
I
off?
kind of struggle with that too.
No,
I think from an all-around standpoint.
I don't think you're off. I think that from your view, Shea is probably better. From someone that covers Memphis, their view is probably that Ja is better. I
Mhm.
don't think there's
So it is because of bias.
no exactly. And that's why I said yes. That's why I said yes.
Do you think Shea is better, Nick?
Um,
I mean, I think it's close. I just think Shea has a more rounded game than Ja, but Ja has been more successful.
Yeah.
But Ja's team has
Ja's-
been attempting to be more successful as well.
And Jaw's game's louder, which you like hence
That's
the
Ja's
Russ,
game
Russ
is
Harden
much
MVP
more
debate.
conducive to highlight reels.
Yep.
That's fair.
But I would say Shea's more well-rounded. But again, that's a theme. I'm just since we're previewing this season, some themes from this season. That's something I'm going to be watching. Shea getting more attention from defenses on a team with less veterans. Probably, definitely since he's been with the Thunder. What is he able to do? Is he able to put all this to work and still able to show out? Or does he struggle a little more? Maybe not even but just, shares the ball and opportunities more. I'm really interested to see how that develops this season.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for Shea to mimic last season's efficiency
Right.
I agree.
with the amount of defensive attention he will get. I think his assist numbers will go up, though.
Agreed. Yep. Definitely.
So, all right. So, question number 1 has been answered. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander will not be an all-star, unfortunately. Nick, you get to kick us off with question number 2. Will this team make any substantial moves this season?
will you define substantial?
I was gonna ask the same thing. That's funny.
I intentionally kind of left it up to interpretation. So you tell me
Yeah.
what your perspective of substantial is, and do you think they reach that threshold on a trade?
My definition of substantial would be impacts the franchise beyond this season. And I think the answer is no. I do think, maybe they have a salary dump and they take on a guy and get a late first round pick for it, and that first round pick ends up being a package that gets you a better guy later, maybe indirectly. It's substantial. But I mean, unless there's a guy that they think is gettable that is going to be part of the core, I don't think there's going to be a move they make that is substantial. And so because of that, I'm going to say no. It wouldn't shock me, but no, I think this is going to be a very go with the flow, just kind of see what happens kind of season, see what players they have. If something comes up, sure, but I don't think Sam Presti is looking to make some huge splash move.
You don't see them adding like what I would call substantial is adding a building block to this roster.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, think about last year. Even substantial moves, or what we thought was substantial, trading away Hami, adding Tony Bradley, getting Svi in the Hami deal. Like none of those guys ended up being anything.
Sticking around. That's a fair point.
They got
I would
3
agree
second-round picks from those 2 deals combined, though. I think that
Sure.
was
those are
that
substantial.
was the goal.
But we'll see what happens with those.
Yeah, right.
I don't
would
even remember
agree.
what those second-round picks were. Did either of those second-round picks materialize into Aaron Wiggins or Jeremiah Robinson Earl?
I think they were
Not
later
this year.
first.
They were
further
down the
out,
road,
yeah.
down the road seconds.
Yeah.
I would agree with Nick's assessment of what substantial is, but would also add on that I think a substantial trade could also include a player that could contribute to winning this season, which to Nick's point, the Thunder are not interested in. We've heard Presti and Dayton both mention this over and over and over in their availability throughout the preseason and even into some of last season. This season is all about, we keep talking about it, but kind of seeing what the baseline is with a lot of these young players that they have, seeing what they have in these young players. Hence, again, the prime example of that I think is the Kemba trade or the Kemba wave, the buyout, rather than trying to build up his trade value and then trading him. I think the most quote unquote substantial trade that would be made would be something around Derek Favors. And even then, I don't think there's going to be anything really substantial in return. It's just going to be more of give Josh Giddey and Trey Mann, these young guys, as many minutes as possible.
Would you consider?
Oh,
go ahead, Justin.
Would you consider the Gabrielle Deck signing a significant move? It's different. It's different than either of your definitions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Like, to me, that was kind of a significant move. Not by your definitions. Again, it is not a move that impacts this team outside of, I don't think it drastically changes the future
or the present.
But it wasn't an insignificant move. They're paying him a lot of money. They brought in an international player. It's not like they're just getting a Tony Bradley or something like that. It was a different type of move.
I have a hard time using the terms significant and Gabby Deck in the same sentence.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I understand. That's kind of why I asked.
I think if Diakite didn't like shatter his hip or whatever the hell he did, Deck would have been the final cut. I have no way of knowing that. I think that probably would have happened.
I disagree, but I don't
think
disagree
so.
that that's what I wanted. I just think they're very invested in Deck for whatever weird reason.
That's what I can't figure
just
out.
Something that doesn't fit with so much fits within this, ideal.
He's the outlier for sure.
Yeah, right. And the Deck signing is very
One
much
of
the
these
outlier.
things is not like the other.
Right.
Yes. yes. That's perfect.
But so you could say the same about the two-way signing of Paul Watson Jr. Like,
Yeah. Also
what's
true.
the fascination
Older,
there?
But it's
two-way wing.
It's still, that's a two-way deal versus
Yeah.
the deal they signed with Deck.
Versus $4 million a year for 4 years.
Right.
Well, and I think the biggest thing is just, to Jacob's point, bring him back this season. Right? Like, it's one thing to pay him that money last year when you had the money to spend.
Need salary filling money somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You had asked,
you still need that this season, but
if you had asked me 2 months ago, I would have said there's no way Deck is coming back. And here he is.
They
He's
still
here.
have a Florida hit,
yeah.
I truly think
That's true.
maybe the only reason he's here.
Yeah. The floor thing, I don't know if that's a big deal to me. Like, if
Give
they don't
Shea,
hit the
Lou,
floor, they just take
everybody
the
else a
difference
bonus.
of where they're at and where the
Exactly.
floor is, and then just give that money out to the players they already have. So it's just a
True.
nice extra payday for some of the rooks.
It's not like you're penalized from the league. That's a good point.
yeah.
It is
Silva,
weird.
you were about to say something a second ago.
Just that I don't see any major moves happening out. Like I don't see any non-fringe moves happening until the next draft, basically. And it depends on where the lottery ball falls. You know, that's gonna be the next
I think that's
lighthouse,
spot on.
I should say,
Spot on.
for a big trade.
Yeah,
Something I wanted to ask you, Jacob, since you're a huge fan of this player, Ty Jerome. If Trey Mann is just like a badass this season, and the Thunder like really want to give more playing time to a guy like Trey Mann, do you see a guy like Teo Maledon or Ty Jerome getting just sat on the bench or maybe traded somewhere else if they're worth anything?
I think Ty is the more likely of the two of he and Teo to get traded because Ty is a more productive player and he's more ready now. If Trey goes off, I would rather see them move Teo because we know my feelings on Teo. I'm sure Teo is a great kid. He seems like a great kid and a great person.
Yeah.
He just doesn't excite me on a basketball court, and I'd rather have Ty Jerome, especially after watching Ty Jerome go. He didn't really go flamethrower mode, but my man is not afraid to get some shots up.
He was cooking.
I love it. Love it. So I think we're on agreement here. The Thunder do not make any significant moves this season. Now, Silva, you just hit on something that I think is the big thing here. We all probably agree something relatively significant happens next late June around the NBA draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, or or better, or something's very wrong.
I know Nick and I have had this conversation a lot.
I don't know. One of the two.
And I want to make sure that I'm on the record that I am a massive Paulo Banchero fan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the style of player the Thunder have been targeting is basically Chet Holmgren, is it not?
Right.
I don't
long, lanky, skillful.
I think it's less about this. I mean, the size has been a big piece of it recently, but I think it's more about the mind, the brain, if that makes sense. I think the IQ is heavier. It's like a quarterback. Like there's so many, like Spencer Sanders, Oklahoma State, elite athlete, does not have it in the head, will never be a great quarterback.
I think there's a quarterback down south that doesn't have
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. But then you've got like the Mac Jones who's playing for the Patriots that's not the athlete but has it in the head and he will be successful. And I think that's the kind of guy that Sam Presti is going for. Is
Thunder going for all the quarterbacks?
Is maybe
well.
Guys that have the quick reaction, the smart basketball mind.
Nick, I know you were out of town this weekend. I'm not sure if you were in this one or not. I feel like you might have been though. But at one point this weekend, Mark compared Giddey to both a running back and a quarterback.
Yep.
In basically the same answer.
Well, think about the 20 best players in the league right now.
Yeah.
How many of them are not smart basketball players?
Right. They're all very high IQ.
Pretty much none
players.
of them. Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. Smart, very high IQ, very skillful. So,
now, to your point, like not to go on a tangent about prospects, but like Banchero, I think he is he's expanding his game. You see this like basically power forward freak athlete that you're mentioning, Jacob, that that Presti targeted in the past, but I think he possesses a lot of versatility. We're seeing these guys coming in who these raw athletes who are having to expand their game in order to be, to get offers in college or to be able to go to the G League, Ignite system, and all these things. So I don't know. I think Banchero would fit that mold, even though he is more of like the old school, ridiculous athlete that Presti used to target.
Definitely. Justin, before we get off this one, talking about major moves, and we're now already talking about next year's draft.
Prospects, that's right.
On 3 days away from the regular season.
Yeah.
We're talking about the draft already.
Eyes on the prize.
But I mean, I think it's fair to say that every year they want to get up to pick one or two.
Yes.
But this coming up June, to you, does this feel like really the one that they're going to like push the chips to the middle of the table?
If not now, when?
Yeah.
That'd be my question. Like, if they try to be something middle of the road this year and then go full on tank next year, that feels like a strange move to me. What's the argument against it this season
I
is
know.
where I'm at. Like there's nothing.
Suck one more year to go get Victor.
Right. This is the year. And if you want to do it another year, fine. Or you need to do it another year, however you want to look at that, that's fine. But this year feels like an extremely obvious year to do it.
Mhm.
All that said, so did last year.
Mhm.
So I don't
Yep.
know.
If they get pick number 1, I don't know if I would rather them take Chet or Paulo. I like them
I
both
know.
a lot.
Good problems.
My
to have.
philosophy is win the lottery, get pick number 1, and then trade that Clippers pick plus just everything else and get pick number 2. And
Just have pick 1 and 2.
why not both?
If we're gonna talk about the draft, I want to get one thing into.
Okay.
As much as I love Paolo, Jaden Hardy, like the Thunder don't have that killer Jalen
Yeah.
Green type scorer.
Yeah,
Would
that's
not
Hardy.
be mad about him either. I would rather have him than Chet. I'll say it now, and I'll keep
Interesting.
saying it.
If Chet can put on some weight, I think Chet could be really, really good. That guy's just a mother effer, and I like having some mother effers on this team.
If the Thunder get Chet, they're gonna need to like sign a sponsorship with Golden Corral or something to get these boys fattened up.
If they sign Chet, they're going to be
Mahoganies.
basically the Utah Jazz, a whole bunch of whites
Oh,
and one
no.
black guy.
Just like tomahawks for the whole entire team every night.
Yes,
Trying to beef these boys up.
one in each hand.
We need
That's
to get
right.
him that what is this sounds really bad coming from the nerd that I don't know this. The super soldier serum. There we go.
Oh, yeah,
what
there
I
you
was
go.
like.
Captain
Yeah.
America.
Hmm.
I was about to say the secret soldier serum, and then that was going to sound really
Close.
stupid.
That
Nerd.
sound really weird.
Speaking of though, I went and saw Shang-Chi finally. Have you
Ah,
guys seen
good.
that?
yeah. I haven't done that
Good.
yet. I need to.
Nick, did you say you saw it?
There's a couple Marvels I need to catch up on.
No.
Yeah.
Silva, you saw it, yeah?
Yeah, like the second week it was out, I think.
It's really
Okay.
good.
Yeah, it's very good.
And then I finally got around to watching like the 2 most recent Spider-Mans as
I
well.
remember you saying that. I did that also.
Both of those really
during the
good.
off
With the
season.
Tom Holland
I did the
ones?
same exact thing.
Mhm.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Pretty good
Wow.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Taylor, you get question number 3.
I'm ready, coach.
One question we need to answer this season. You're going to answer it right now, though.
Yep.
Which of the Thunder's young guys are actual building blocks, and which ones are
Hey.
just filler that need to go?
I told you I'm ready. Here's my top 5 in order.
Oh, Jesus. Taylor did his homework. Look, Taylor, you need to come talk to my students about
Thinking ahead.
preparedness.
Preparation. That's right. That is right.
Taylor's
thank
the
you,
kid
Miss
that
Alexander.
I say, hey, who wants to answer question number 1? And like everyone's like, damn it, Niffin, I don't want to do this. And then one kid in the back's like,
Me,
oh,
me. Mr.
That's
Niffin,
Taylor.
please, me, sir. Yeah, I was teacher's pet growing up, probably.
I'd believe it.
SGA has to be number 1. I could joke and say it's somebody else, but here's the thing: they signed him to that max for a reason. And whether he was in, those quote unquote trade talks or not for the number 1 pick overall, that's because even if he was, it's because he's the most valuable player on this team. And I think we're going to continue to see that. We already talked about Shea for this upcoming season. Number 2, I think, has to be Josh Giddey at this point. Although prior to the draft, I would have said Poku. I really would have. But I think what we've seen is just Giddey has shown so much more. He just seems already like so much more of a for sure thing that I think is something this franchise already can build off of. And that's actually something I want to jump into later if we have the time, is the Shea and Giddey chemistry on the court. I think is going to be really important for this team moving forward in this franchise. Number 3, I think I'm going to go ahead and put Poku there. I'm really, really interested in Poku's development this season. I think that's pretty critical for this franchise moving forward. Again, are we looking for that next guy this upcoming draft, or can Poku kind of be a 2B kind of player? I'm not convinced, but I think that's really important for this franchise. And then from there, Dort at 4, Baisley at 5. And then there's like these guys that are kind of in that limbo that we still have to figure out. That Presti, again, I brought this up earlier, but trying to set that baseline for these players. The Trey Mans, the Maladones, the Ty Jeromes, even the Vit Krejcis. I know, we were talking about this earlier, Justin, like Vit. What does he look like this season with the blue, and then maybe a little bit of Thunder time? Man, I'm like going
Got his
down this
visa
list.
now.
Yeah, right. That's right. He's got his visa. He's ready to go. Robinson Earl. That's a guy that I think the coaching staff really like. Another very fundamentally sound player, NBA ready player. I just don't think, high floor, but probably low ceiling kind of guy. But I expect him to stick around for a while. Other than that, like Roby, I mean, I really liked what he was able to do last season. I think he will get a lot of burn again this season. I like him a lot. I just don't. I kind of think to answer your question, Jacob, I think he kind of falls off after these other guys, especially from like a long term standpoint with this franchise. But I mean, yeah, that's. I'm going through this list. That's about it. I think that's it.
I think that's
Anybody
fair.
else have?
I mean, I like Aaron Wiggins.
Of Taylor's top 6, top 7, like who would you guys take out? Who would you put in? Who would you guys flip flop? Which one of these guys, or which of these guys, are actual building blocks towards building a playoff contending team, and which ones are frauds?
Well, hang on with the
That
fraud
changes the
language,
question.
buddy. Hang on.
Maybe not a fraud, but like is not going to pan out. Like, here's
yeah.
my first hot take of the night. Silva, do you have a hot take sounder for us?
Why?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
That's a good one. I think as far as which guys are going to be building blocks and which aren't, I might put already like Trey Mann above Darius Baisley.
Yes.
Oh,
I was gonna say this. I was gonna say
that
I'm
is
almost
spicy.
there.
I think Trey.
hate it. I like
I'm not
it.
saying Trey is a better player. I'm saying
Right.
theoretically, I think Trey has a higher ceiling than Darius Baisley does.
I'm close to also wanting to say that. Like I've put my Darius Baisley stock in a canoe near a river. I'm about to send it down the river and perform a Viking funeral. Like halfway through this season.
Get the flaming bow and arrow ready.
Halfway through this season, if I'm not seeing more from Baisley, I'm there with you.
Here's my thing. I didn't get to throw this one out because we ran out of time last week, and I'm talking so much I'm probably gonna make us run out of time again. But my most improved player for this Thunder season, since we're doing Thunder season
Taylor's
predictions,
just continuing
highlights.
to make up his own question.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Justin, I got a bet for you if you want to bet again.
Taylor is 100% the kid in class that just gets on a tangent. You're like, God damn it, dude! I'm trying to teach about World War II, not
You're
about
talking about
Roblox. Leave
that's
me
right,
alone.
You're talking about the current election and trying to tie it together in your super complex mind. But I got Darius Baisley for most improved for this Thunder team this season.
That's optimistic. My building blocks
That's
are
optimistic.
Ranked in order that I wrote my encyclopedia over are.
Let me break
Let me
them
read you
down
my
to tiers.
dissertation.
I have tiers as well.
my building blocks are Shane Giddy.
Justin.
Period.
I was going to say the same exact thing. if so building block, I think of as like guys that are part of the core that if I had to put money on it today, I would think would be on the team in 5 years.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the only two.
Agreed.
That's the only with how much turnover there is in
The
this
rest-
NBA.
The rest are maybes. Like there's
Mhm.
still a good number of maybes. I think a lot of the people Taylor talked about, Dort, Baisley, Poku. Yeah, I think there's a high probability that they're on the roster in 5 years.
Yep.
I think there's 100% chance Shea and Giddy are.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yes.
I think
fair.
when I go to that next tier, Dort, great player. We've talked about it before. Like, would not be surprised to see him get moved.
Yep.
Baisley and
Michael
Poku,
Bridges today. I think that's a pretty solid prediction of what Dort's contract will look like when he's extended or signed again.
That's a lot of money.
Poku and Baisley are still coin flips, I feel like, especially Poku. But even Baisley, I don't know. It's just there's so many unknowns. It's impossible to call them a building block at this point. They're a project. They're a part of the roster exploration, as Presti likes to always refer to it. And there's going to be a lot of that. And at some point, they're going to be explored. And we're going to decide, are you a building block or are you done? Time to trade to somebody else. Not a fraud. I'm not saying they're a fraud, but
Fraud was a
saying
little
like
harsh.
There's
You know-
going to be guys that are on the roster now that are going to be successful NBA players. Just somewhere
correct.
else.
I think of the analogy that was in my head thinking about like Dort. I think of almost like our Jeff Green. of good player, like at the beginning stages of the Thunder, like Katie Russ, Jeff Green, like, yeah, that's the trio until it's not, and Jeff Green gets traded, and then Harden comes in, and it's like, oh, this is way better. I think the same thing could happen with Dort.
Yep.
Like, yeah, Dort, Giddey, Shea, it's awesome. We love Dort. But I think that feels like of those three, the most likely place to upgrade.
Yeah.
That's fair. So, Nick, you also said the two building blocks for you are Shea and Giddey, and after that, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to choose the next guy in that list that's teetering on that edge of falling into the group with Shea and Giddey, who's that third guy?
I think it's got to be Poku.
Interesting. I thought you would go with Dort there.
There's when I think about like replaceability, that's probably not even a word.
But you're right though. I know what you're
I
getting.
feel like if they would have drafted Jalen Green this year, no one's excited about Dort anymore. Dort falls to the wayside. You know, we got this new shooting guard, yada yada yada. I don't think there's a Poku replacement per se. There could be wings that are drafted. Paolo would be somebody that's like 100% taking Poku's minutes, but the 7-footer, just like the imagination of like what this guy could be is so much higher than Dort. As good as he is, as good as Dort is, just like a center position, I think it's so easy to find a shooting guard. Not maybe they doesn't play as good as defense, but that contributes to winning.
Let me ask you this. Say we get to the end of the season and Dort's third year in the league is up.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the season, he took let's say he plays like 80% of the games. And he took 6 threes a game and shot 38% on those threes. Does that change your opinion on that at all? If he keeps the same level of defense, but he's like a 38% 3-point shooter.
I think that's a pretty likely scenario. And like, Nick, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't think that would really change. Like, I agree with what you're saying. I think Poku's development would still be more important.
I think Poku has more superstar upside.
Yeah,
right.
Yes. And I think that's exactly it. You just articulated what I couldn't earlier. And that's Dort's not a home run swing. Poku's a home run swing. Now Poku could land like just past second base. We don't know yet. We're not sure that it's going out of the park, but we're swinging for the fences.
Yeah, when you look up to
Dort's
see Poku's
like a
ceiling,
solid double.
Yeah, when you look up to see Poku's ceiling, it's just darkness. Like you don't know what's up there.
Yep.
Right.
But like, does he got enough gas to get there?
Well,
right.
I'll answer
I think Dort's ceiling, like, it's very attainable. It's just it's not as high up there. You can see Dort's ceiling. I mean, in the perfect world, I made this comparison the other night. Like, is Lou Dort at his very best peak ceiling Drew Holiday? Because Drew Holiday was what, a third or fourth best player on a title winning team?
Right.
But still an important part, right?
Yeah,
but still
Poku's ceiling could be.
Again, I think of like Michael on the Phoenix team last year. Like, I see Lou playing a similar role, and it's great that the Thunder have already found that. But to your all's point, is it this early in the development of Thunder 2.0? Is it worth giving up? I don't want to say give up as in like waving, but like giving up in terms of trading, whatever it takes to get that next player that can actually get you there. I think you guys are right. Well, as much as I love Lou Dort.
Bringing it full circle, maybe Dort has a great season this year, and that's what gets the Thunder up to take Hardy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
good point.
Every championship team, I know you got to get to playoffs first. Like that's you're not just going to be
we're talking championships.
Every championship team has 2 to 3 stars, and if you're going to pay 2 to 3 stars, I don't think Lou Dort's one of those 3 guys.
That's fair. You guys have convinced me. Shea and Poku, or not Shea and Poku, Shea and Giddey are the 2 building blocks.
Isn't it wild?
I think a lot of people have thrown this out. Do you guys remember the pre-draft process? There's a lot of people that called Giddey the taller Ricky Rubio. You guys remember hearing that comp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am boldly on an island now. It might not, it might be the island might be very populous now. We might have cities on the island. The island might be Japan for all I know. Incredibly dense.
Or Australia.
Or Australia.
There we
But
go.
Hey.
After 4 preseason games, I'm ready to say Josh Giddey's not the 6'8" Ricky Rubio. He's the 6'8" Steve Nash.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Wow.
there it is.
God.
So what you're
There's
saying
some
is
similarities you can't deny.
Whoa. Shay already said he's the black Steve
That's
Nash.
what
So
I-
you,
Hey, we can have a black and a white Steve Nash.
okay, that's fair. Equality.
So I
The
am
way he
not,
dribbles under the hoop and like keeps the dribble alive and keeps the defense moving, it's very Nash-like.
And I mean, the biggest comparison of all, the flow as he dribbles.
Mm.
His hair.
I'm not on that island with you by any stretch of the imagination.
Are you at
but
least going out to the island?
no, but I do want T-shirts that say Giddy Island and a picture of Australia.
Gilligan Island
I'm
ripoffs.
in.
Justin, you can log off the pod now and get to work.
I feel so much better about this draft class already. Just from preseason.
So, Nick, you're
I
not
feel
even
so
on the
better.
boat heading out to my island?
No, he hadn't played
Silva?
a game.
Silva, are you on the boat yet?
Is the island specifically called Giddy is Steve Nash Island?
Yes.
Because I don't know if
That's
I
the
can go
title.
there yet.
That's what our little plaque at the UN says.
I have like some planks on like the mainland that I'm prepared to use to build the boat, but I'm not.
See, I feel
Definitely not
like
on
this
the water
this
yet.
whole Giddy Island is more of like a Hawaii where you have the different islands and you just
Yeah.
gotta have to decide which
Justin,
one
are you on the
wanna
boat
be
coming to
on.
my island yet? Do you own real estate in my island?
No, I'm looking at reviews on TripAdvisor. I'm unsure at the moment,
Okay.
but
There we go.
You know, right now the Josh Giddey is Steve Nash Island kind of looks like Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Yeah.
You're just like losing it.
I'm just
on
out
the
there by
beach.
myself going crazy.
Josh Giddey is Steve Nash.
Taylor, are you on the boat heading to the island yet?
Sorry, I'm so preoccupied over on Dort Island. I didn't even know there's other islands available.
Touche.
Taylor's
Touche.
still on Homie Island.
Yeah, that's
Here's what I'll
Damn
Dora
say.
Island has that Donald Trump wall.
Hey, we
that
still have to
never
get
got
into our
built.
6 minute a
Great
year.
defense.
The homie.
Jacob, I'll make you feel a little bit better.
Please.
The preseason does not mean, and this is Justin's favorite thing. Preseason means nothing.
Yes.
You mean
However,
nothing.
You mean nothing.
I think the preseason solidified that Giddy can't be a bust. Like we've seen enough that he has a floor, that he's an NBA player.
Silva, play the sounder.
What?
The buzz sounder.
Mercy, I'm about to bust.
That one.
You read his mind. He didn't. You just said play the sounder, and that's the one that you guys
I'm
both
so
knew to
happy.
play.
The best thing
Oh,
we did this
man.
season was bring Silva on.
So, anyways, all that to say, I don't think it elevated my mindset of he could be Steve Nash or he could be Ricky Rubio, but I do think it elevated the floor that I put on him. Like he's shown he can play basketball with professional athletes.
I wish we would. This conversation would have been happening a month and a half ago had he done this whenever you guys were out at Summer League.
That's a
Dang
good
right.
point.
You know,
Maybe.
what he's doing in NBA preseason against like actual NBA players, even though they're not going
Much more
full speed.
impressive.
Imagine how he would have cooked in Summer League.
I mean, look at Jalen Green's stats in summer league versus preseason.
Mhm.
Dude averaged like 12 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Different
Exactly.
role, but he's playing against
Yep.
way different competition.
Totally agree. Silva, you get question number 4.
Oh my.
The answer to our
Oh
question
my.
number 3, which of the young players are actual building blocks? I think we settled on 2, guys. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
That is
fair.
fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Silva, question number 4. On my doc, I'm switching them up a little bit. Will this team blatantly tank like they did last year?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we'll need to, I should say. With the level of competition in the West and in the wider like NBA, I don't think we're going to need to tank. Mainly because of the absence of a real reliable center. I think Derek Favors will be the closest thing we get to like a blatantly tank thing. He's going to be load managed a lot, I think, and the guys behind him aren't necessarily reliable at that position. So our defense,
You mean you
in
don't
the
have
paint-
confidence in JRE guarding Nikola Jokic?
yeah, yeah,
And Joel
Okay,
Embiid?
Dave-
they're going to get torched.
Completely off topic, but or not completely off topic, but Daynon said that he views Jerry basically as a 4 today and not a 5, which I found interesting. Anyways,
Yeah.
continue.
He is 6'8".
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna need to blatantly tank. There might be some minor like injury management stuff, but I don't think it's gonna be. I know Shea had tendonitis, but we're not gonna see anything like that. We're not gonna send a player home like Horford. We don't have anyone on that Like we don't have a situation like that again this year at Horford.
We're not going to have Moses Brown playing 36 minutes and Charlie Brown Jr. running point guard.
No, just play the young guys.
Yeah.
I think that will be enough.
So you think it's going to be quote unquote an organic tank?
Yes.
Because they're just going to play the young guys instead of blatantly trying to lose at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think they get out to as big of a start as they did last year?
I don't think so. I don't think so, no. But I know Presti and Daignault will do what they have to do to get us to hopefully higher than a top 6 pick or higher than the 6th pick.
I got a reverse question of the last question that's based off of this question.
What? Oh my, you just blew my mind.
If a question
Am I
were
in
to
the
question,
Matrix right
how
now?
much question could a question
The end of the season last year got boring because the guys out there nobody cared about. I think that could be very different this
Charlie
year with
Brown
how many
Jr.
young guys there are. And Charlie Brown Jr. is what sparked this question. How many guys on the 17-man roster, so including the two-way guys, how many do you have zero interest in watching this year? 2?
That's fair.
Yeah,
it's a small
I thought of
number.
Deck immediately.
Yeah, that's a
Paul
really
Watson.
good point. Yes.
Deck, Paul Watson.
As much as I love Muscala in terms of like long-term
That's
future
fair.
for this
Muscala and
franchise,
Favors, yeah.
Do I care about Roby that much? I don't know.
That was one for me.
Yeah.
So
know.
all
As
that
much
to
as they love
say,
him.
at all times, there should be at least one player on the floor you care about watching.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I think that's exactly, both of you hit on the head what I was going to say of like, I think it will look more like, say, the Cavaliers season, something like that, where there's a lot of fun that happens. There's also a lot of losses. I don't think if we're using the word blatantly to describe what the Thunder did late in the season to try and, reverse course a bit and, drop lower than they had been the first half of the season. I don't know that we're going to see that, but I do think we're going to have a lot of losses. But Nick, I think you said it perfectly. It should be more fun.
Yeah. I was talking about this with Justin and Jacob both on two of our previous podcasts about like there's no rim protection. There's not going to be a lot of rebounding this year, but I think that's on purpose because to Silva's point, you can let these young guys, for example, using an example from last season, you can let Shea do what he was doing. And yes, I know he was actually hurt the second half of the season, but even if he could play, you send him out anyways kind of thing. Like you don't have to do that. If this team's still probably going to get beat for other reasons, you can let a guy like Josh Giddey shine, and that probably isn't going to result in wins. Now, all that being said, there are going to be games in the dog days of the NBA season, being late February, early March, weeknight games where the Lakers come in and Russell Westbrook's resting and etc. And this young Thunder team is giving 110% like they did in preseason against the Nuggets, and they're going to get some of those wins, and they might surpass some of our expectations for what they might win this season. All that being said, I don't think it matters all that much kind of what you all are getting to. And I was kind of using this analogy when I was talking to a coworker last week about this team after some of the preseason games. He's a little more of a casual fan, so he was asking me my thoughts, and I told him, look, Presti, after 2 seasons, after trading Russell Westbrook and Paul George, he's finally tore the house down to the studs. He keeps talking about this baseline. It's time to start building the house again. And I think that's what we are going to see with these young players this season.
Is our version of sitting Al Horford this year, our break glass in case of emergency situation, is that just like put Poku at center and just watch it all burn?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes. We
don't want like a Clippers. Like very end of the season, we don't want to like accidentally beat the Clippers or something,
Very much so. No, I think that's fair, right? I think we've pretty much summed this up. They will not blatantly tank because the need won't be there. This team just doesn't have the experience that it did last year. And inexperienced players tend to not win NBA basketball games.
Yep.
Winning comes when you have more experienced guys. Okay, last of the 5 big Thunder questions entering the season. I guess I'll take this one since I haven't started us off yet. This one is, how bad will the Thunder be? I think that's a big question that a lot of fans have. Like, how bad will this team actually be? Per betonline.ag, the Oklahoma City Thunder's official over-under number for this season is 23. They're going to be bad, but I'm not taking 23 bad. Did you guys see that John Hollinger, after watching that Thunder preseason game, I think game number 2 against Milwaukee, decided to give the Thunder an over-under of 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Give me that
Because-
in Vegas.
John Hollinger is a little reactionary. Just a little bit.
And, granted, if you had the same job as Sam Presti and you lost your job because you were told you weren't doing your job, and then you see Sam, like, a team that, in Hollinger's views, probably are losing games on purpose, he's probably a little angry and reactionary.
Well, I don't even know if
that's where
it's-
that comes from.
I don't even know if it's more about that or more about the fact that that's maybe the only Thunder game he's watched in the last 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
his
100%.
one. It's his one view of them.
Yeah, but
it was on ESPN.
If he was in a front office role, I would hope that he would have the, the ability to understand that and realize that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's probably why he lost his job. But.
So I think the Thunder will not be good this year. I'm going over on the 23 guys. I'm planting my flag firmly at 25 wins. 25, and what would that be? 57? 25 and 57 adds
Feels
up to
right.
82?
Yeah, it feels right.
Yeah. So that's about the Thunder winning 1 out of roughly every 3 games.
Yep.
So about 1 game a week on average.
Yep.
I think that's
That's
pretty fair.
When you put it like
There's
that,
going to be
it does not
some
sound too
games where
bad.
like everybody rests. I mean, they're going to play the Orlando Magic and the Houston Rockets, the
Yep.
Sacramento Kings. There's going to be games that they will just come out. If I learned one thing from preseason, it's that this team is going to shoot the dog piss out of the basketball from the 3-point line. And there's going to be some games where they just shoot 50% from 3 when they take 40 in a game.
You're exactly right.
And there's going to be other games where they hit 7.
Exactly.
And when you
On the
can
same
space the
attempts.
floor like that, and you have a guy that can penetrate like Shea and like Josh and find open shooters, some nights you're just going to get hot. It's going to be your night. Other teams aren't really going to be feeling it because it's the second night of a back-to-back in January in Oklahoma City, and nobody cares about giving much effort. So I got them solidly at 25 wins. They're not going to be good, but I think they're going to be entertaining this year. Ties back into last question. They're not going to blatantly tank. You're not going to have to watch Charlie Brown Jr. play basketball. You're going to have some guys that we're all going to be at least some level of invested in watching play basketball. And I think that's
I
going to
agree
make
with
this
that.
season fun.
I feel like we owe Charlie Brown Jr. an apology.
Yeah,
for the
shout out to
number of
Charlie Brown
times
Jr. If
that
you listen to the podcast.
He's just
his
a
name
scapegoat.
Wherever you are,
we
Charlie.
mentioned tonight. Good grief. He's fun to watch sometimes.
Very
Anyway,
I also had to watch Gabby Deck
Cool
last year,
hair.
so I really deserve
cool hair.
an entertaining season.
The only reason I go over is the sole fact that Oklahoma City was 16-19 with Shea. And I know they had
Yep.
Horford. I know they had other things. 16-19 when Shea played is outstanding in terms of how bad that team was.
Mhm.
Yep.
He's good, man.
I'm taking over as well. Not by much. Kind of probably in the same ballpark as you, Jacob. I don't have it nailed down to a number in my head. If it's much higher, I'm gonna be a sad boy. If it starts to even like flirt with being much higher, pull the plug and get Charlie Brown Jr. on the phone. Sorry again to CBJ, but it can't happen for all the reasons we talked about earlier. It can't happen. They can't let it happen. I'm surprised they let it go on as long as they did last season, and I don't know what would have happened if Shea hadn't gotten hurt.
Yeah.
But you got to pull that plug sooner if it even starts to trend that direction, because you can't come out of this summer with number 6 again.
Will we see some SGA load management this year?
I think so.
I don't. Oh,
Likely.
see, I don't. I don't
I think
know.
Really?
he will. I think he'll sit some games.
Shay's on
It's not gonna.
board.
It's not gonna be Shea Gilgeous-Alexander out in parentheses rest. It's gonna be ankle.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Right.
it's not gonna be that bad, but it's gonna be.
Yeah,
Bad
send him
enough.
one every 5 or 6 games.
Yep.
Give the
See,
guy a
I
break.
think this team is to a point where it doesn't matter.
Well, I think it
I'm
matters
still-
once they start winning too much.
No, well, sorry.
And
I
they
mean,
start seeing
I mean,
them
they're
slip
going to
away
be-
from those percentages.
I don't even think as good as Shea is that it's going to lead to additional wins.
Oh,
Um,
I think that's fair. Yeah, they watched themselves get royally effed on percentages last summer. They're not going to let that happen again.
Exactly.
They're going to double down on playing the percentage game.
And to Justin's point, yes, you have to hit in this next draft, but I also think like there's only so long that guys like SGA probably can throw Dort into that, even if you don't even care as much as you would with a player like SGA, and honestly, maybe even Giddey. Like these guys want to win; they're competitive. It doesn't matter how bought in they are to the long-term goals. Like there's only so much of this that they can take. And so I don't know. I just think if Shea's going to continue to develop, he's going to demand more from the franchise. And that doesn't involve tanking for another couple of seasons,
There's been a lot of quotes about how Shea very much aligns with what the team is doing. So I'm not too awful concerned with that. So we all agree they're going to be bad, but not 23 games bad?
Yeah.
Yep.
Silver, are you taking the over?
I'm taking the over. 25, 26. Please no more.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 25, 26, I think is a great number. I think it'll be a little over 23. Good stuff, guys. Well, the 5 most burning questions for the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA regular season has been answered.
Hey, the Thunder should really pitch to their fans the way you pitched it to us. Hey, 1 win a week. Not so bad.
1 win a week. Tune in to see which game it'll be this time.
5-game ticket package. You'll get 1 win, baby.
Guaranteed 1 winner.
Before we get out of here, gentlemen, we have to get our NBA-wide predictions on the books. We have not yet. We did some bets and we made some predictions, but we got to get the big stuff. So we're just going to go. I'm kind of so conveniently, I'm in like the center of our stream here. So we're just going to go clockwise on each of these questions. Justin, then Taylor, then Nick, and then Silva can steal somebody's answer and not look like a fool because he never has to go first. You know what? Silva, you don't get that out. We're going to go clockwise one time, then counterclockwise the next
All right.
time.
Jeez.
First question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in the Western Conference Finals? Justin?
Okay, I was going to say, so is this
like,
clockwise or
is that
counterclockwise?
me?
Okay, fine. Suns and Lakers.
Taylor?
Oh, I have Suns and Lakers.
It's the boring pick, but it's the right pick.
Yeah, Nick?
And it would be the most fun pick.
Lakers Nuggets.
Boo.
Oh, wow. I would take the Nuggets if Jamal was healthy.
He
Silva?
will be healthy at the end.
Chaos.
Really?
Suns, Jazz.
Oh, I like it. I'm gonna piggyback off Silva. I'm going Suns Jazz as well.
Okay.
That'd be sad for Russ because
Hey, I have Jazz first overall ending the season. I just don't think they'll get there in the playoffs.
Silva, you're first up. Eastern Conference. I feel like this one's a really easy one. I feel like I know what
Bucks,
I was gonna
Nets.
say. Nick,
Yep.
Taylor,
Yeah. Yep.
Justin.
F y'all. Bucks Heat.
There we go.
Kyrie's ain't playing. Give me Bucks Heat.
I think the Nets still got it even without Kyrie's
Yeah.
idiot ass. And I think the
Okay,
Heat get
we
bounced
can't all
first
say the
round
same
because
thing.
the Heat are all tough guy, Heat culture. No one's going to score on us, and they're all old, and half of them are going to be dead by the time we get there. They're all high risk for COVID.
Kyle Lowry's still overrated.
Oh,
How
I like
dare
it.
you?
Justin, who's in the NBA Finals?
Okay, I have to stick to my guns. They're not. I hate myself. Lakers Nets.
Yeah. See,
Even though I just said the Nets weren't making the Eastern Conference Finals, that is it's the correct answer. I was just trying to be different. Okay.
Lakers Nets is what I'm rooting for. Yeah, I'm going.
That's
Lakers,
what you're rooting
Nets.
for?
Yeah, I want to see
I don't want to
Russ.
see the two biggest markets in the league in the finals.
I mean, it's not like the Thunder are going to make it. Give me Russ versus KD.
Okay.
That's all I want.
That's a
All right.
compelling narrative.
Nick.
Lakers Bucks.
Okay. Silva.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to stick with my previous Western Conference Finals lineup, so I'm going to
Unlike
go
me.
Suns, Nets.
Nice. Give me a repeat,
I like
folks. Suns Bucks
Ooh.
Part 2.
See, I was
Ooh,
afraid of that. I don't want
there
to see
we
the Suns
go.
get buried
I think
again.
the Suns have a down year relative to last.
Very much could.
Yeah.
But hey, we already mentioned Mikal Bridges got his extension. Man, people have been saying this, but let me tell you something. DeAndre Ayton's agent is just chilling. He's either getting a max extension or he's getting a max next year in restricted free
Yep.
agency.
Yep.
100%.
Either way, he's getting paid.
100%.
All right, Silva, who's our NBA champion?
The Nets.
Nick?
Lake Show.
Oh, Taylor.
KD gets another. Nets.
Justin?
Lakers.
Ooh.
Tiebreaker.
Give me the Phoenix Suns, baby.
This guy.
There we go.
Devin Booker, Finals MVP. You heard it here first.
Boom. I like
Justin,
it. I
who
like
gets
it.
MVP this year?
This is where we
Josh
get
Giddey.
spicy. Josh Giddey.
Oh, you didn't mean my personal MVP.
Yes, correct.
Golly, that is a hard question.
You want to take Giddey for MVP, but you're not even on your damn boat headed to the island yet?
It's a joke, okay? You're like the guy in our mentions who was so mad that we posted a picture of Giddey with the caption "the goat," and he was like, "What the hell did you just say?" Anyway,
Was it first name, lots of numbers?
Probably with like a Yankees fan avatar. I'm gonna say MVP Kevin Durant.
Okay, Taylor.
MVP. I said it last week. I'm sticking to my guns. Dame Dalla.
All right, Nick.
Luca.
Yeah, that's
a good
it.
pick. Silva.
Kevin Durant, and
Ooh,
I want
that's
that
one
for
of-
him. I've dealt with my inner demons. I
Yeah.
want Kevin
Fair.
Durant to find happiness someday.
I don't even know this guy's odds. And I think I maybe said this last week too. Give me Joel Embiid.
Joel. Yeah, that's a good one. And I keep thinking about Steph as well.
Give me
That's the one I
Joel.
have.
Angry Joel because Ben Simmons is collecting a check sitting in the locker room. Joel is going to average like 30 and 13 or something stupid.
Yep.
I'm thinking about the odds on that right meniscus.
Ooh, there you
Silva,
go.
who's your depoy?
Oh God,
Defensive player of the year.
I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
I feel like
Not Rudy Gobert. How about
that's
that?
a fun kind of under the radar. Dude, if Rudy Gobert wins it, I swear to God, I'm going to use the toaster as a bath bomb. Nick?
Cancel the award.
This award becomes like irrelevant if that happens.
Yes.
It does. I hate Rudy Gobert.
The Rudy Gobert hate on this podcast is incredible. As
I'm not
much
sure
as I
which is
hate
worse, Rudy Gobert or Charlie Brown Jr. Dang, man.
Nick, who's your depoy?
This guy's probably not even on the top 20 of who could win it on the odds on
Hipster.
BetOnline. Paul George.
Whoa,
Ooh, that's
That's a
fun.
fun, that's a
That's a fun one.
I like that. That's a good dark horse. Taylor?
I mean, obviously, I want to say Lou Dort, but Drew Holiday.
Drew.
Ooh.
Justin.
I'm going Anthony Davis.
That's a good one.
That'd be
That's a good
big.
one, too.
That is a good one. I'm going to go another kind of hot take-ish one here. Give me Ben
Yes.
Simmons.
Oh
Ooh.
yes,
Give me Ben Simmons.
yes.
What
He's
team
gonna
is
have
it
a hard
for,
time
Jacob?
getting it if he doesn't get traded soon. But give
Yeah.
me Ben.
Yes.
That's fun.
Justin, Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, baby. I am going.
Do it. Do
Trey
it.
Man. It's not Trey Man. I'm gonna go with. Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
That's what she said.
Jalen.
Wish
So-
Jalen.
Jalen Suggs.
Suggs. All right.
Ooh, I like
I
that.
considered that.
There was a lot of build-up on that one.
You like that?
There was.
So many
Jalen
Jalen's
Suggs.
to choose from.
Taylor?
Built up to the Jalen, then had to decide on the last name.
Taylor, who you going with?
So I was torn between two players as well, but not two Jalen's. I did consider Jalen Green. Almost started to type his name out. But guys, I really, really like Evan Mobley a lot. I think it's going to be Mobley. Cade's going to have plays that like we're going to look back on and think that only like 5 NBA players in the entire league could make the kind of play that like that Cunningham can make. But when it comes down to it, I don't know. I think Mobley's going to have more of an impact on his team, and therefore we'll get the Rookie of the Year.
Nick?
Jalen Green.
Silva.
Cade Cunningham.
All right. I'll do it, you cowards. Give me Joshua Giddey.
Hey, Homer.
Give me Josh Giddey.
Homer.
6th man of the year. Silva. Sorry. I didn't know I needed to call it.
Sixth man of the year.
6th man of the year.
6th man of the year. Well, let's see. Lou Williams, too old at this point. Jamal Crawford, he retired. Okay, so if Kyrie gets vaccinated, give it to Patty Mills.
That's a big if, buddy.
I know.
I like
Nick?
that pick though.
Yeah, Patty's gonna kill it out there.
Um,
Was Patty? Sorry, I'm not gonna get off the tangent. Never mind. Go ahead.
He does have pretty good odds. I think his third odds.
Jordan Poole.
Third race odds.
Jordan,
that's a good one,
I'll
too.
just jump in line. Jordan Poole was my guy as well.
Okay.
That's a good pick.
So I also had Patty. But when I was doing this is just for Nick. Trey Mann is currently plus 3,000 for sixth man of the year. That's tied with guys like Miles Bridges, Matisse Thybulle, Lou Will, Buddy Hield, Alex Caruso, and Melo. And above guys like Cam Johnson and Jordan Poole.
There you
Kind
go.
of weird.
So what are Poku's odds?
Yeah, he was
Jordan
on the
Poole,
list.
Nick. We might get screwed depending on how long Clay's out. Jordan
that's
Poole
fair.
might pass the threshold for game started.
And same for Patty Mills, like
Right.
like JD was
Patty
saying.
Mills. I'm convinced Patty Mills was Kyrie insurance.
I'm
Yeah.
convinced Patty Mills is not going to be the very, like, not even top 5-6 man of the year candidate when it's all said and done.
Justin, who you got?
Well, I did recently, as in last Sunday, give my hot take bet of Dennis Schroeder being sixth man of the year. Despite that being my bet, I'm not sure I believe it, but it makes for good content. So my actual six-man pick feels like kind of a safe-ish pick. Jordan Clarkson. I think, is he the odds-on favorite? I think he is.
He probably
think, yeah.
is.
At most
Yep,
places.
he was.
Like,
I think it was like plus 300 or plus 600
yeah,
or something.
he's good, man. And
Yeah.
I think his role in
Flamethrower.
Utah, is really, really good for him. It's a good fit, and I don't see any reason why that should change this year.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see Utah play Rudy Gay at center down the stretch of playoff games because Gobert's a liability.
Did you say Utah?
What did I say? Utah?
Yeah, you did that on
Too many Rudies. They got the
That's
R's
a
on
good
the
T-shirt
brain.
idea.
There you go.
Any Utah Jazz fans out there, feel free to take that one.
There we
Until
go.
Jared Butler starts getting buckets instead of him.
Oh, yes.
Dude, Jared Butler is pretty good, man. He looks fun. Looks like a lot of fun. All right, gentlemen. We are all prepped, locked and loaded. Our takes are out there. Our bets are on the table. Our predictions, the answer to the Oklahoma City Thunder questions. I think we're ready for basketball.
We got some hoops.
Very ready.
Make sure you guys join us Wednesday night live stream after the Thunder take on none other than Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz. Game tips at 8 p.m. Central Time. We'll be live for our post-game podcast, probably around 10:30 p.m. Central Time. And then, of course, it'll drop in your feed immediately after. Thank you guys so much for joining us throughout this entire off season. It was a quick one, although it kind of felt like a long one. It was short. We are back to basketball. We can't wait to get started. Come hang out with us Friday at Prairie Brew House in downtown OKC for our watch party. Free beer, 3 uncontested stickers. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at. Drop a 5-star rating while you're at it. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, your favorite social media channel of choice. We cannot wait to get basketball started with you all. Until then, and as always, Thunder up.
All four of us wanted to say that's what she said so bad, but we
I
let
don't know
you
why
finish,
did it.
Jacob. That's
I don't
also
know
what
why
she
you did
said.
it.